It looks like inflation is on a 6-month low right now. Is this likely to continue, and what is driving this?
Hi, Larry. Yes, it's a 6-month low now at 6.0%. And ever since the end of last year, we have been experiencing very high rates. They peaked in February at 7.4%, and they have been coming down now. I expect it to hover around 6% going forward for the next couple of months.
All right. Namibia is perhaps one of the few places on the continent where food prices remain flat, at least according to the latest statistics. But this is always a concern when you're talking about inflation.
Yeah, no, the food prices were flat month on month, but if you look at the year-on-year figures, they're up 7.9% year-on-year. So food prices have definitely also been increasing quite substantially, especially year-on-year, and it's definitely a cause for concern.
Why shouldn't I move to Namibia? Fuel prices are really low, inflation is really low. Investors must like the country.
Well, I wouldn't say that the inflation is that low. You're more than welcome to move, Larry, but there are definitely some factors that you should consider. For example, according to the International 2012 Misery Index, Namibia is ranked the 6th most miserable country in the world to live in due to the high unemployment and inflation rates.
Right.
So there are definitely other factors to consider as well.
As long as there's good weather, I'm sure I'm already sold. Tell me.
I'm sold here now at the moment.
Excellent. Is this effect of low inflation being felt in the rest of the economy in terms of people's pockets and their ability to spend?
Larry, the cost of living in Namibia is quite high. For example, our housing prices compared to South Africa are also very, very inflated. So I wouldn't say that it's definitely filtering through, as you said.
How does this play into the overall monetary policy environment?
The monetary policy environment?
Yes.
Well, I spoke about the monetary policy with you guys a bit earlier in the year. Government is reining in spending a bit this year. So they'll be issuing less bonds and so on. There's the redemption of the GC12 in October. So those are probably factors that should also be considered.
What are you thinking about the economy right now in terms of the outlook, depending, of course, basing into studies like what the government has its projections and bodies like the IMF?
Yeah. Sorry, can you repeat your question, please?
I'm sorry, I'm asking about your outlook for the Namibian economy.
Yeah. Well, I remain cautiously optimistic. There are definitely a lot of things that are uncertain at the moment. For example, will we hit oil? Will the uranium price finally recover? Obviously, Namibia is very highly dependent on the mining sector. So those are definitely things that we'll have to see how they play out in the coming months.
Which of these is the greatest risk in terms of proper sustained economic growth among those you've mentioned?
The mining and hitting oil. Well, hitting oil is either going to be excellent or
right.
Yeah, and then of course, like I said, with the uranium price, if it does end up recovering, then it's going to be very good for a lot of mines in Namibia.
Is there any real risk of contagion from whatever's happening, the Eurozone crisis? The global market is in a mess right now.
Yeah. Well, the thing is with Namibia, luckily we're not too affected. Obviously, it's going to have an impact. We export a lot of goods to Europe as well. But even with the huge crisis in 2009 and so on, our economy only contracted by about 0.4%. So it's going to have a negative impact, but probably not as big as it would have in other countries.
All right, that's a good place to end it. Many thanks, Anthea Angermund, research analyst at IJG Securities. Thanks for coming on the program.